Hi everyone. So initially I thought the video is going to be about choices and how we make a certain choices and what really determines, what really dictates, I guess, our decision making. And first and foremost, of course, it's our values, right? And I think those can be both very intentional and the one you kind of sort out about yourself and you consciously chose, and it can be values that have been internalized through childhood. Like for instance, if you have observed something being constantly valued by your parents. So for me, for instance, it has been social connection. I remember my parents always having these different social gatherings and events, and sometimes where they will be tired, or even us as kids will be really tired and exhausted, but it was like an obligation that we had to go to show our respect, right? So it's kind of like you see how certain things becomes valued over the others. So then not surprisingly, like things like self-care, quiet contemplation and other things were really discovered by myself later in life, and it was a more self-conscious values that I still try to practice. But to look at the decision making, it's not only about our values. I think decision making a lot about, like, a big aspect of decision making is fear, and our relationship with fear, and our relationship with bravery and what it means to be brave. And I think I always took that for granted. I always have been brave, and a lot of people told me that I'm really brave, but to me it never really felt that I'm being brave, because I was always curious, and following my curiosity was the number one kind of priority and goal in my life. It's really like, I always used to say that I live for experiences, I live to experience all the other things that happen in between. Like, yeah, sure, I want certain things in life, I want to have some goals, I want material things, but really, I think one thing that I'll be the most disappointed in myself, it's if I don't get to experience as much as I can. And that includes just different types of experiences, like, just from going to different events and stuff, and also just living a certain type of life. So I've always been fascinated with living in different parts of the world and different neighborhoods, like really just experiencing different contrasts and what it feels to be and to live the life that somebody else lives. Not surprisingly, I ended up studying sociocultural anthropology, and yeah, was always fascinated with stepping into the shoes of the other person, looking at from the perspective of the outsider, but also trying to become an insider in order to really, really embody and understand the context that somebody lives in. But it's not even so much as to learn about other people, which I love to do, but it's also so much as to feel it myself, to go through it myself, to experience these things firsthand. And I think that's where bravery just comes as a secondary response, and likely for me, maybe I just had it innately until the moment where something really happened in my life and activated certain traumatic response, and I started to be filled with a lot of fear. And it was very different for me to experience that, and ironically, I guess I needed to experience that. If I want to experience everything, I probably need to experience what it's like not to have that bravery, right? Like what it's like to actually be on the other side of fear and struggling to make choices. And so for the last couple years, my decision making really started to take flight. Like, it was really difficult to make simple decisions sometimes, and even more so with the bigger decisions. But none of those decisions felt like they were so quintessential to my life. So I still questioned, why do I struggle so much? And I was trying to really find the answer in values. I was trying to find the answer in building up my own self-esteem and trusting myself more, which, it all helped. But I think what I just realized recently, actually is through a session of regression therapy, I came to realize that I almost saw that pathway. You know, it's like I am standing here and I can see I can go left and I can go right, and I strongly feel like I want to go towards that direction. But ironically, in my own vision, the right direction looked all conventionally sunny and beautiful, and it's like, of course you will be attracted to that. But I had this strong pull inside to go to the left. It's almost like this unexplored path, and I know in my vision and my feeling, I know it would lead me to that kind of paradise, if you will. But that's where I want to go, and I go towards it, and I start going in it, and then I realize it's like I can't see ahead. I can't see ahead too far. It's like I'm going into this tunnel, and I see what's in front of me, and I'm enjoying it, and I like it. Like, I like the feeling that I'm there in. But then I am looking further ahead, listening to 100 meters ahead, 200 meters ahead, and it's dark. And I'm in this vision. I'm scared of darkness. I am starting to have this visions, or oh, did I see something there? Something gonna come out of there? And I'm so caught up trying to figure out if what I see is real. Like, is it me? Is there really something there? So even in my session of regression therapy, like, everything I'm seeing is in my mind, right? But at the same time, I know it's my subconsciousness, and a part of me is like waiting for something to come out, maybe some trauma or something, and it's like, is it there? Is it there? Is it real? Like, is it gonna come out now? And I'm so caught up in that, on that road, that I'm actually not moving forward. I am stuck in that, because if it's real, I don't know what my thought process, I guess, I'm not even going to that thought process. That's the thing. Like, I think it becomes the utmost importance to understand whether that danger is perceived or real. But what I haven't realized until now, or I consciously didn't realize, it's not like I have never faced certain danger in my life, of being in certain rooms and situations and stuff like that. But it wasn't about me knowing ahead of time, or me figuring out, oh, this is dangerous. It was really me just being able to stand up for myself, and being able to stand there and be like, yeah, I see it. Yeah, this might be scary, but I got myself, and still going forward with it. And so there was this moment where I looked back at the path, and I know there is that paradise, that nice picture is there, and I know I can enjoy it and I can go back. But I really wanted to go that way. But that way is, uncertainty. And I think that darkness represents not so much as darkness, but maybe it's the uncertainty of life. When you drive in fog, in foggy weather, and you can't see like anything that's basically like around the corner, like 100 meters ahead of you. And it's like you need to take it step by step. You need to be enjoying that process, or like being really present with the process, and not trying to like look so much far ahead. And I wonder if there is also that desire for exploration and curiosity that led me to that first path in the first place. It was because I already see the paradise over there, and I'm like, well, this is beautiful, it's great, it's already created. But there I'm taking the other way, because it's almost like there is this part of me that it's an explorer. It wants to explore, it's curious, it wants to know. And the truth is, it wants to know the dark parts too. That's the thing. That was the reason I was at that session in the first place, the reason I'm doing the regression therapy, the reason I'm doing a lot of things in my life that related to, unconscious and stuff, because I know that there are some things that may come out, but I'm not so much scared as I'm curious, or at least I have been. And so this analogy of the road, and choosing something, and that was also very revealing to me. It's not really so much about knowing or trying to understand, whether it's imagined or it's real, but it's really grounding yourself into the present and being, okay, I'm choosing to go forward. And the moment I did that in my vision, I felt so much more empowered to walk through it. And I actually walked through it and I saw there was like more things to see and to go through, and it wasn't scary anymore. And it was just that decision where I'm like, yeah, I see that, that's there, but I'm walking forward, I'm going for it. And and I think that is probably the most powerful example that I felt of overcoming your fear, but not overcoming your fear in a way that is, like you're fighting it. You're just really just making that grounded decision in yourself. And it's not even about overconfidence or anything like that. I didn't have to say anything to my dad. It was just a simple decision. And once you make that decision, it's like a part of you that knows that it can protect you and it got you. It stops being scared. It's like, yeah, you got me. And I think it also goes to say a lot, because the importance of being in the presence, in the reality of things, because sometimes, again, and I think a lot of positive psychology and a lot of spiritual practices these days too, it gets too caught up in what's real, what's not real, what's intuition, what's not intuition, what does this vision mean, is this past life, is this not past life, is it, imagined to an extent that you see this in, it's almost like you need to talk to that thing, and you need to have that whole, just imagine it being a certain other way. But again, even just by doing that, you're still staying in the same place. You're not moving through that fear. You're not moving further where you want to go. You're just in the same place. It's almost like if I made a camp in that tunnel, and I was like, cool, I see there is the things I'm scared of. But what if I imagine that there is, I don't know, the beautiful beach and birds and something else is there. I'm almost like creating that overlay over reality, but the truth is, maybe I'm not scared anymore, but the thing is I'm just turning away from that fear and hiding behind an image, a perception of something else, but I'm not moving forward. And in that way, I think the paradise almost becomes that escape and that overlay of both promised happiness and also the overlay of a fantasy life. And why I say that is because when I see it in the beginning, it looks beautiful, it looks conventionally beautiful. I know I could enjoy it, but I'm not attracted to it. I don't want to go there. And there is not that such a strong of a pull. And I think the reason for that is because I'm realizing this is just a construction of a certain beauty. I haven't discovered it for myself, I haven't explored it. It's almost like, there is no fascination there for me, because it's almost a painting that I didn't paint. And I want to paint my own painting, and live in it. And going to the left kind of symbolizes that, making your own path, following your own happiness, finding your own happiness. I guess that's the right word, because you don't even know what it looks like yet. That's the thing, that I think that's why that path is so scary, because you don't know what you're going to find. Like, is it happiness that I'm finding? What am I going to find, right? It's that path of exploration, of seeking. Of being curious and just taking things as you go and giving them a try. And I think the symbolic meaning of then, all the positive psychology and things, when you're just trying to escape that reality through a beautiful picture in your mind by creating an overlay, is that you're still not moving forward, you're still not exploring, you're just taking a thing in your memory, and in this case it's imagined, I guess, because it's not really there. But that's the thing, it doesn't matter if it's there or if it's imagined, because in the end of the day it's still like a fantasy that prevents you from moving forward.